Today we're gonna try and find out if the thousands and thousands of dollars I've spent on film lights over the years have been worth it, or if I can do the same job with a $15 work light from Home Depot. It's a pretty dumb idea if I'm being honest, because why would anyone do that? But we've been filming a lot of interviews and high-end lighting setups for my documentary cinematography course, and we have so many great modifiers and pieces of diffusion that the light looks so good we started to wonder if the lights itself were actually making a difference, or if we could do the same thing with something much cheaper. So instead of just finishing the tutorials like normal people, we're gonna hop in the car, go over to Home Depot and get some of the cheapest work lights we can find and see if all my film lights were actually just a giant waste of money.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but here we are. Let's hope for the best. So honestly, none of these lights are going to be very ideal. They're all bad color balance and not at all meant for this. But what I'm kind of looking for is a strong single source light, something that's going to do maximum output that we can push light through a bunch of modifiers. Standard construction one. All right, well, I think this is our best option. I think we're gonna get 2 of these for maximum output and see what kind of effect we can get. Just for the record, these lights are $18 Canadian, so I don't even know what that is, like 13 bucks or something US, so not high end. It'd be really interesting to see what these can do if we put it through some really nice diffusion. Maybe rush hour is the best time to come to Home Depot. There is nobody here. This is amazing. Be freelance filmmakers, then you can go to Home Depot any time of day you want.
Yeah.
All right, successfully survived Home Depot. Guess I should probably explain what we're doing here. We've been filming, we rented this whole location to film updated videos for my documentary cinematography class, which relaunches on March 4th. And as part of that, we wanted to try a bunch of bigger and bigger lighting setups because people really liked those the last time. So I reached out to my friends at Westcott to see if they would help us out with some bigger lighting modifiers to try. If you don't know Westcott, they're one of the best brands for like diffusion and light modifiers for filmmakers and photographers who travel. Like their stuff is really high quality. Anyways, they sent me a bunch of stuff to play with, like their booklight kit and some 6x6 and 4x4 frames, a bunch of neg fill and different diffusion fabrics. And we started to get this stuff set up and play with it, and we're like, this looks amazing. So being the idiots that we are, we decided to actually test this theory, and now we're the owner of these 2 600-watt portable halogen work lights, which I think are probably gonna look really terrible out of the box, but I wanna try and run them through things like the book light and bigger diffusion panels and just see, like, is a $15 light up to the job of a professional interview? So the first thing we're gonna try is what these look like through a book light. So I'm gonna get the book light kit set up, and then we'll pull these lights out and see just how bad it is. Okay, so inside this case is the Westcott book light. If you don't know what a book light is, it's basically like this wedge shape with diffusion on one side and bounce on another, so you can sort of make light extra soft. Don't worry about it. Once it comes out and we get it set up, it's going to be a lot more clear. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't stress. Anyways, I'll open this up and show you quickly what's inside. All right, we've got the fabrics attached, and I think you can see what's going on. You've got one side, which is a super reflective white bounce. The other side silver, but I'm gonna go with white to start. And then on this side, a half stop grid cloth diffusion. So we're gonna shine a bright light here. It's gonna bounce back through here and hopefully give us the softest, most flattering interview light possible. Now with normal film lights, this is super easy. You just point your aperture, whatever, into here, it bounces back. We're gonna try and do this with a $15 work light, so let's see how our results are. First thing we're gonna do is bring in the 300D as a control light, and we'll bring down all the house lights and then just see what it looks like with a professional film light straight through the book light. Okay. So all the house lights are down now, and we're just gonna roll in 300D Mark II on a combo stand and point it in the general direction of the book light and see what we get. So So what we really need now is a stand-in. So we're gonna get Hank to sit in that chair and keep filming me from the indomitable Hank Hunky in the chair. So even this, like it is right now, is looking pretty nice actually. I mean, it's got nice soft light on his face, it's wrapping around nicely. We could experiment with moving it around in some different positions. So now we'll take down the 300D and bring in the $19 Canadian work light. So it's probably pretty dark in here, but we've killed the 300D and turned all the house lights off again. And now we're going to try the 600 watt work light from the ground on its little built-in legs. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. All right, Hank, sit back in the chair again. Do you smell that? Like a chemical burn?
No.
Was this a horrific idea? Are we gonna burn down this Airbnb?
I certainly hope not.
So, anyways, that is the work light. I can immediately see two big problems with this. It's not honestly as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it is incredibly orange, so incredibly warm temperatured, and the angle is all wrong. These little built-in legs it's got are just, it's coming from the floor, it's coming from the wrong angle, everything's lighting him from the bottom up. We want to get that up higher and shine down on him. So I think we have a bit of a problem on our hands. We're gonna rush out to the camera store. We've got an hour before it closes, and hopefully we can pick up a pack of color correction gels, because otherwise this whole look's gonna be really weird. We could color balance for 3200 and really change, but then outside is gonna look all blue. I think we need to cool this down. All right, so we just went to turn this off and we realized that like it's only been on for about 3 minutes and it is roasting hot, this thing. This is like a legitimate, you know, hazard. This is one reason why you don't want to use the $15 work light or the $19 work light. You could burn down your location if you're not careful. So we're gonna turn this off and let it cool down and then run out and get some fire retardant filters, ideally, because anything else we put on there is gonna melt, and we only have 45 minutes before the store closes. So let's get out of here. Ow, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all in miles. Hank, your cursed American phone.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back here with the gels. I think these are gonna help a lot in terms of, you know, balancing this light out a little bit, at least I hope they will. But before we do that, we need to find a way to get the light up higher. So this is definitely not the safe, correct way to do this, but we're just gonna make this big, towering stack of stools. Don't do this yourself, but I think it fits the nature of the challenge pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is not secure. How many people out there are triggered watching this? Okay, let's get Hank back in the hot seat and see how that's looking. So it took us so long to go out and get those gels and make our way back through traffic that we lost all the natural light. It is now dark and it's completely changed the look of what we're shooting. So I'm going to go into high base ISO, which is one of the nice things that you can have on a camera like the FX9, is there's 2 base ISOs. Anyways, I'm gonna bump up the ISO and then compensate with the aperture, maybe around f4. That's looking a lot better, but it's still crazy orange. So the next step is to try and gel it a little bit. So now we're gonna put a gel on this light. These things, if you're not sure, these are just heat resistant pieces of clear plastic that you can use to shift the colors of lights. So if your picture or your light is too warm, you're gonna put blue on it. And if it's too cool, you're gonna put orange on it. So yeah, this is a full stop blue, and we'll put it in front of this light, which I think is at about 3200-ish. It should make a pretty big difference. So look at the color of the light on my face. And then as I move this gel in, theoretically, it's gonna look a lot more balanced, like neutral, natural light. So this stuff should be pretty heat resistant, but don't put tape on a light like this. This is kind of like, in a weird way, using old school film lights. So I'm gonna use some clamps and just sort of, like everything else in the setup, precariously clamp it on there. But I can already see that that looks a lot better than the blue. That, I buy that as natural light now. So if there was a bit of sun coming in the background, this would be more or less 5500 balanced. I think it looks pretty good actually. So get my clamps. If there's any like G&E professionals out there watching, I know this is ridiculous. That's the point. We're just gonna see how far we can push this. All right, let's get Hank back in the hot seat. So actually the light's looking a lot better to me. We lost a bit of output because of the gel. So we'll go back down to 2.8. That's looking pretty good to me. And then what I see now is that the background looks super dark. So first thing I'm gonna try is turning on a practical and see if that helps. I think there's a little light over his right shoulder, or camera right shoulder, that might add a little pop to it. So flip that on, see if it makes a difference. How do you? Oh boy. Oh boy. Here? Things got intense there for a sec. Okay, Hank, sit down. All right, so pretty successful so far. Actually, I think this does not look too bad. If I didn't know that that was a dirt cheap work light sitting on top of a stack of rickety stools, I would kind of buy this. We've got like a whole Rembrandt look going on. Not bad at all. All right, let's warm up the background and see what more we can come up with. Okay, so as predicted, it's pretty hot. That does not look good at all, and there's no way to turn that down. So the only thing we can do is either bounce or modify it. Okay, what we're gonna do is take this cinefoil, which is basically just like hardcore jet black tinfoil, and I'm gonna shape it into a kind of cone or hood and see if that makes a difference. So already, this has brought the light levels down, way, way, way down in here. I mean, that's reflecting. Let me have a closer look at this monitor here. So after getting the other work light set up down there, it just does not look good. It's way too overpowered, and the light source just isn't believable bouncing up from the ground. And because of how hot it is, like it is scalding hot right now. You can't touch any part of it. It's impossible for me to mount it in a way convincingly to simulate that light. I ran through all sorts of scenarios of how to clamp it onto different places and stuff, but it's just getting too crazy. And honestly, I think the look without the light is just fine. This might not be the greatest interview frame of all time, but from a lighting perspective, not bad. All right, so just for fun, we have the second work light also precariously positioned here. We're gonna fire it up and just see if doubling up the output helps. So we'll get Hank back in the seat. Okay, here we go. And there we go. Not bad. I mean, to be perfectly honest, you guys can be the judge of which one you like more. The one light was definitely a moodier look. This is a much cleaner, sort of brighter look, but also with some contrast and modeling to his face, and there's some okay ratios here. I mean, the book light is obviously doing all of the heavy lifting. It's just pushing light through this giant soft source, and that's responsible for all of the shape and the niceness of it, but I could do either. I think if I wanted a moodier look, I'd only use one of these lights, and if I wanted to get a much cleaner, brighter setup, you could do that. You just have to put up with the fact that it's gonna raise the temperature of the room by like 2 degrees every minute that these things are turned on, and that you might burn yourself at any moment unexpectedly if you touch any part of it. So I definitely wouldn't recommend this, but does it work? Yeah, I think it does. This looks like a okay key light for an interview. Okay, this is very meta. I'm sitting in the frame while also being filmed. A lot of layers going on here. But I think overall we can say that yes, you could absolutely film a professional level interview with a Home Depot work light, but you need the right diffusion and modifiers. If you want to get a book light for yourself, this is a really easy way to get a giant soft source. There's a link in the description. I'm not being paid, there's no sponsorship. I did get this for free because I wanted to do this test, but other than that, me and Westcott just have a friendly professional relationship. No sponsorships. Like I said, we did this as we were setting up higher end lighting tutorials for the update and the relaunch of the documentary cinematography course on March 4th. Normally the lessons in there aren't so ridiculous. Like, I'm not going to give you a bunch of classes on how to use Home Depot lights on set. This was just a sort of fun project that we did while we were testing out diffusers and modifiers at the same time. So if you're interested in the course, last year it sold out in just 4 days and almost 100% of those spaces went to people on the waiting list. So if you want to space this year, we're going to open twice as many, but we've added a bunch more content, so I guess it'll probably fill up as well. See ya.